Hello, I'm BBM, and this is chapter 1 of my Turing Sega 0% Goats playthrough. Most people know what 0% Goats entails, so I'm not going to get much into that. The objectives of this playthrough are simply to complete the game with 0% Goats. I'm not going to attempt to load turn it, although I will play reasonably efficiently, hopefully. I'm going to try to recruit as many characters as possible, which is not all of them, and aim for as few character deaths as possible, which is not 0. Now, our first 4 starting characters. We've got Runin, our lord. He's a pretty typical sword lord. He's not very good in 0% growths. He gets a pretty good weapon near the end of the game, but it's simply not enough. Then we've got Christ and Darkus, who are purple and green, not red and green, cavaliers. They're both pretty mediocre, both with and without growth. Christ is a little better because he can use hand spears, which are the javelin equivalent, at bays, which Arcus can't. But they'll both be dropped pretty soon. Garo is our last starting unit. He's a pirate. He's kind of a min-maxer. He's got really good strength, really good speed, especially for an axe user. However, he has a really atrocious force skill, and he's also got a pretty bad 4 movement, so it takes him forever to get places, and even when he gets there, due to axes in this game having hit comparable to Fire Emblem 6, he has a really difficult time hitting things, which you'll see later on. He does have a little bit of an advantage in this map though. Since he's a pirate, he can cross over the water, whereas the rest of our units are stuck on the island waiting for the drawbridge or bridge to lower. So he can help out the NPC units who are fleeing the enemy units. The 2 characters, the NPC characters, who will be recruited on the next turn. The first of them, Sasha, the one who's on the right, who's not doing any fighting. She's really bad on 0% growth. She's kind of like an early game S character, which doesn't work out obviously when there aren't any growths. Then there's Kate. Kate can use both swords and bows, so that's kind of nice. And she gets a horse upon promotion, but her stats are pretty similar to Christ and Arcus, so it's really just not worth it. And by the way, that's why Garo sucks. She's also going to be dropped pretty soon on. As you can see, she's got a wood shield, so in this, her durability is not actually that good. It's not actually as good as it's going to appear on this next enemy phase once she takes a bunch of hits. At the beginning of the chapter, we picked up a couple items. One of them was just a herb. That's a vulnerary. Nothing to say about that. The other 3 items are pretty interesting. I'm going to talk about 2 of them in this chapter. The first of them, the charm, the one Runin picked up. What the charm does is, if a unit has it in their inventory when their HP reaches 0, the charm will be used up, and they'll be resurrected with 1 HP. As you might be able to tell, charms are going to be very useful in this playthrough because our units kind of suck. The second item, the wood shield is a type of shield. That's a type of item that's exclusive to Turing Sega and Berwick Sega, its sequel. What shields in this game do is they have a number of uses, although uses isn't really a good word because it's a passive item, not an active item. It passively gives the holder a defense or resistance, depending on the shield, boost. But every time the unit gets hit, the shield will lose 1 use, and when the shield reaches 0, it'll break and the unit will no longer receive the boost. The third item, the iron sword, I'm gonna get to that in the next chapter because this chapter is pretty short. There's not much time to speak about things, but it's not a regular iron sword. One thing to note in that boss fight with Arcus, critical hits in this game are like Fire Emblem 4. Rather than tripling your damage, as in the GBA games, it triples your attack. So critical hits can do a lot of damage, a lot more than you might expect, which is why Arcus did 1 damage regularly in like 17 with a critical hit. Anyways, that's chapter 1. I'll see you next time for chapter 2.